This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And I've got a wonderful guest on the phone with me, a very, very beautiful woman, a former Miss U.S.A. I'm talking there's no body double for this woman. She was just in the movie. I'm talking about the gorgeous, talented, fetching, captivating Deborah Shelton. How you do, Deborah?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much.
Yes. Wow. It's like you were before we get to any of your movies, like you were a Miss USA.
Yes, I was.
And I read on Wikipedia, it said that you did that to spite your boyfriend at the time. Is that true?
I did. Yes, I was such a tomboy, and that beauty pageants were definitely not something I liked. And anyway, I did that to spite him, and then I accidentally won the Miss Virginia pageant, and then that's what started it all. But it was fun. I mean, I was on my way to the University of Virginia it's called Easter's weekend, to party all weekend basically, and they have football games and all that. I had my football in the car, and anyway, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I told this man finally I'm going to do it, but I had my football in the car and went there, and we just kind of started a game of touch football in the parking lot somewhere. We had a great time. It was a fun experience, and I realized that the girls weren't all just so sissy as I thought, and then I caught up to everybody on a Sunday afternoon for the grain parties in the yards at University of Virginia, and played football again.
So, what did he do for you to spite him?
Let me see.
Do I dare ask?
Really let me see. I can't remember now, but I remember that I thought, okay, I want to be in Virginia all the time. I love it here, and I'm going to grow up and get married and blah, 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 blah. And I really liked this guy, and he was a little bit older than I was, and he just wasn't towing the line like I wanted him to, and I got mad at him, and I thought, fine, because I used to play powder puff football and shoot hoops and go fishing, and I didn't like sissy stuff too much. I really liked sports. I ran track, all of that, and I had fun with him. Same thing. He was a football coach after graduating college, and so that was kind of the life we had. We would take some hunting dogs, throw them in his dad's truck, and go out to the woods and get in a boat. Sometimes we would chew tobacco and spit at cans. Crazy, horrible. I mean, when I say this now, I think, oh my God, people are thinking, are you kidding me? But I'm glad I grew up that way. It was fun and natural and whatever. And then when I went on to win the Miss USA pageant, boy, had to be in dresses all the time, had to wear hats, had to changed my lifestyle a lot, and that was really nice too, because I got to see the world first class. It was so wonderful, and I had the most wonderful chaperones that year. And here, I grew up an only child. My father used to always serve me my steak cut up already at the table, and I had on my senior prom, I ordered fried chicken where everybody else was getting steak, thinking, well, who's going to cut my meat up for me? Anyway, when I won the pageant, it was fun because then I learned all that from my chaperone. I learned how to, I don't want to say behave like a lady, because I was not a wild thing by any means, but, more ladylike, even though I had modeled to earn money to buy my own clothes, and the end of high school and in college, I did that so I could buy what I wanted. And it wasn't that I couldn't look girlish, but I certainly didn't want to sit around and talk about shopping or whatever girls do. And I had more fun outdoorsy things. So that was kind of how my life took off. And then people from modeling agencies during that year had said, well, if you'll just come here, come there, and, we'll make your life for you. But honestly, winning the pageant, the officials tell your parents, sign right here because you no longer own your daughter this year. We do. And every step you made, every trip you made, everything was dictated by the pageant people. And it was wonderful. I had a great experience, and it opened up my eyes to the rest of the world in a way that I would never have imagined. Luckily, my parents had loved going to visit in Mexico, so I was exposed to that kind of food, and I had a great love for it too. And in the 4th grade, back then, they started teaching us Spanish on television. And I just picked up on it immediately, and I always thought, wow, one day when I grow up, I'm going to speak Spanish and have Mexican food, and speak Italian and have Italian food, speak French and have French food. I used to think of all those things when I was just a tiny little girl, and then growing up, I really did get to explore the world, and I've enjoyed it so much. Never been to your part of the country, though.
No?
No, I haven't. We have a home outside of Montreal in the Laurentians, in L'Estoril, and I absolutely love it. It's my favorite place. I would think of myself being more tropical, maybe, or I don't know. That's the kind of climate I would think I like. But after being in Canada, that is for sure my first love. My first love. It's just inspiring.
You've never been to the Maritimes, huh?
Have not.
No.
Not yet. I'll say not yet.
No, I'm from Fredericton, New Brunswick. That's from a little province called, New Brunswick. And about the closest thing we have, I think, to celebrities here is the Trailer Park Boys, which are in Halifax. You familiar with them?
No.
No?
No.
They're kind of like our Cheech and Chong, only there's 3 of them.
Aww.
You should look them up.
I'll have to. Trailer Park Boys.
The Trailer Park Boys. There was 3 movies done. Their show was gone 11 seasons. And,
really?
Yeah, 11 seasons. They do this in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And their first movie was produced by Ivan Reitman.
No kidding.
There you go.
How fun. Wow, I'll have to look that up and watch it. I'm always looking for new, old movies I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, well, they did 3 movies, and I liked all 3 of them. And basically, it's 3 guys that live in a trailer park, and the guy that owns the park does not get along with them, and he's a drunk. But these guys are all the time smoking weed and trying to find ways up. One of the guys wants to get back into prison because he wants to they pulled him out of there before he was to win the some kind of sport they were doing there, and he wanted back in so he could whip this guy's butt. So there you go. That's the mentality we're dealing with on it.
That that's funny, but in a way it's sad because I think the prison systems are so poor. I don't know how they are in Canada, but here it's just horrible, and that there's so many people who have a great fear of living on the outside, and at least in prison they're taken care of, they have their meals, they really can have a life that they're too fearful of trying to take on themselves outside. But something I heard, I don't know if this is true, that in the United States, the private prisons, or prisons in general, are the second largest business, private business, second only to Walmart. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Now, I can't substantiate those facts, but that's pretty scary.
That is scary.
And there's not much done here in the States to prevent the revolving door system of people coming out and ending right back up in there.
Yeah. Well, I recommend you check out the Trailer Park Boys.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, their show is on their 11th season, and there's 3 movies that were done for them. I think the first movie came out in 2006, so... And they did a spin-off to it called SwearNet, which Went down, it beat the South Park movie as having the most uses of the F word.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over 900.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like, what was it? With Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino. Scarface, I think it was 181 times. And
Well,
I thought, you've got to be kidding. They beat it.
Well, SwearNet's got over 900.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
But yeah, if you get a chance, look up the Trailer Park Boys. I think you'll find them quite funny, and they're the closest thing we have here to celebrities, closest to me anyway. And yeah, so yeah, one of them was actually
filmed it in Halifax. You said
they're in Halifax. Yep.
And they still live there. They didn't move away.
I'm assuming they're still there. I've been trying to reach them for my podcast, but it's strange. I can't seem to get a hold of them, and they live like 6 hours away. But here I talk to all these people from L.A.
Aw, isn't that funny?
It is funny
how things like that work.
It's weird. Like I even sent them a list of people I've interviewed, and I've like I said, you're number 30, and it's like, come on, guys, I've had Adrienne Barbeau on here. I mean, come on. But no, I'm
to get them.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, check those guys out. I think you'll find them funny, especially if you love Canada. But I'm really happy to have you on here. Like, I'm very familiar with Body Double, which, of course, you did for Brian De Palma. And, yeah, I like De Palma's horror films the best and his thrillers. Like, I loved Dress to Kill. I loved Dress to Kill was awesome. Sisters. The Phantom of the Paradise, and Obsession and Carrie.
Sisters. Who was in Sisters?
Sisters was, I was almost going to joke with you and say Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. But Sisters came out in 1973. It starred Margot Kidder and Jennifer Salt.
Wow, I love Margot Kidder.
Yeah, she's in it.
I'll have to see that.
Yeah, it came out 1973, which means I would have been 1 year old. Yeah. So,
you're a baby.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think he's pretty much of a genius, and I know people say that he's just a big copycat, and he copied Hitchcock, and whatever people want to say, it's like, yeah, well, you try to do that yourself, but I can say that I think he's pretty genius. He's a Virgo, that's his star sign, and he is ultra organized that way. When I went in to read for him, when I was going to do the film, he brought me into the office, and there were hundreds of poster board. You know what poster board is, right? That kids take to school to make posters.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So there were just hundreds of those with, I don't want to say every frame, but every bit of how he was going to shoot the film. He'd driven around, he'd taken Polaroid snapshots, whatever, of all these places and knew exactly what he was going to do. So his preparation time, and I'm sure you know this, that to be on the air, it takes a lot of work time, of pre-production time to do anything well. And he is incredible at that. And maybe he did copy Hitchcock, like I think our film, Body Double, was a bit of a takeoff on Vertigo and the back, was it the
Rear Window?
Rear Window, thank you. I was going to say the back door.
Yeah.
Rear Window. So it was kind of a mixture of that, but he's a genius. He doesn't have so much, well, should I use the word respect? I think it's true that he doesn't really care for the actors that much. Not that he doesn't care for them, but they're just pieces of his puzzle. It's like colors of paint. And it's the process that does it for him. He's not enamored in any way by celebrityism or anything. He's enamored with the work, with the process, with the journey. And he's really good at it. I think if you stop every single single piece of film, you would stop and put that up on a projector, and you would look, and compositionally it would be perfect. It's just perfect. He just has such an incredible eye, and he's good as a director too. I was new to the business in a way when I had met him, and when I had to go do my screen test, I was quite nervous, and I went to Warner Brothers, and I ran the scenes one time. I didn't do the scenes from the film because there wasn't really that much dialogue. But for him, my character was a bit of Maddie from Body Heat and a bit of the Liv Ullmann character from an Ingmar Bergman film, which is leaving me right now. I can't think of which one. But those two feelings are what he thought. So those two scenes, I did two scenes, from one scene from each of those movies for my screen test. And he said, "Oh, okay, stop. He said, cut." He took me in back of the set a little bit, and he just stared at me and said, "What's happening?" I said, "What?" He said, "What's happening?" When I read for him in the office, it was so much easier, but all the people and all the bigness of everything there was a little scary to me, and it choked me up emotionally. And he talked to me, and there's something about his piercing eyes, like Vincent Price or something, digging into your soul and pulling out whatever he wanted. And he just was talking to me, and he said, "All right, when you hear my voice, come in and do the scene." And he went in there, and I don't know what he said to them. He just left me already with so much emotion in my throat, and everything that I did the scene both very well, and it was good. He's really a good director of actors, whatever people want to say the way he feels about them. It's just, for him, it's not about your stardom or whatever. It's the paint that he's pushing around on the canvas. That's the way I feel.
You know what? I'm going to defend him. Number one, yeah, he borrowed from Hitchcock, but I mean, Hitchcock is quite the director to be inspired by.
Oh, yeah.
But he also added his own spin to the movie.
Absolutely.
Like Sisters had this whole Siamese twins backstory. Dress to Kill dealt with the whole transvestism situation, you know? And Body Double went into the whole underground pornography business, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like there's this whole underground thing that, like, he borrows from Hitchcock, yes, but I think he adds something else to it. It's like,
Absolutely.
so I've always defended Brian De Palma on that front. I think he brought his own touch to it, and I think it worked.
Oh, I would say so. I was going to say that for Melanie Griffith, who was in Body Double, he had her doing so much research on the real personalities of certain pornography stars, and or adult film media, whatever you want to call it, and it was really interesting. He does make you do your homework, and I think he's excellent, just excellent.
Yeah.
One of the hardest scenes for me was when we shot the scene of kissing on the beach.
That's a Vertigo scene.
That was, though, if I could say I have a little bit of vertigo, but it was in the studio with a giant light. I had no idea what to expect, except that he had a whole lecture with us the night before, and that day, intermittently, when we were trying to shoot the scene, is like, do not kiss so it feels like a kiss for you. This is art. When your lips are about to touch but don't touch, that's titillating. That's sensual. Once your lips touch and smash your face flat, that's not beautiful to watch. This has to be perfectly choreographed. So we were on this giant circular thing that they kept. It wasn't the camera going around us. This big, this giant circular disc kept turning around with us on it. in the middle. So the giant light was the sun and whatever. And it was choreographed. Like every touch is almost a touch. Don't touch. Don't like stroke your hand by someone's breast and squish it or smooch it in, and don't do that with lips or anything. It's like a ballet, like a dance, like a choreographed piece completely. And that took us hours and hours. I can't tell you how dizzy it makes you. But it has the right effect in the end.
Yeah, that was definitely a scene that reminds us, of course, of James Stewart and Kim Novak in Vertigo. You know, and yeah. So and again, you know, he borrowed, but it worked. And I know you talked about where he doesn't quite touch your lips. I watched that scene the other day. You know, and yeah, you just barely touch each other, and it's like, you know, it's almost like trying to pat a nervous animal, and it kind of keeps away, and it wants to trust you. It's kind of something of that nature.
Yes. And when you're watching that, if, for example, the skin of each person almost touches and just touches for a second, it's like a zing of electricity or hitting your funny bone or whatever. It's I think it's a bit of genius. I've always remembered that and used it because I think sometimes people do not study, don't work with acting teachers, don't work with anybody, and they lose those things. One of my acting teachers made us do fencing, made us do this, made us do that, because your body and your voice are instruments, and you can't go without playing the piano forever and sit down and play an incredible piece. You would be very rusty and very screwed up. So I don't today's celebrityism, there's sometimes that seems lost until you work in a very A movie, for example. You don't get to work with people who've been well trained to do anything. But there's so much talent out there now. And there's so much it's just raw, true talent that I think people have. The hardest thing is that people come out here, and so many people that are so screwed up in the brain think, you know, they need to be going to therapy, not acting class. And it's kind of, I appreciate teachers who say that instead of acting like the acting teachers we saw in the movie, the way Dennis played the acting teacher, making people cry, screaming at people. It's all, I don't want to say cheating, but it's kind of masturbatory on the part of the teacher, I believe. And I think a lot of them are really screwed up. Instead of helping actors, they're a detriment instead.
Well, of course, for those who haven't seen Body Double, it involves somebody that, a struggling actor played by Craig Wesson, who ends up breaking up with his girlfriend who cheats on him. And so he moves in with a friend of his who works at a bar, and he goes to some acting classes, hooks up with somebody, and he ends up house sitting in this very interesting house up on a high rise. And he's put in a position where he could telescope across the way watching a woman do a little dance. And she does this like clockwork every night. And of course, we see a murder take place. And of course, you are the woman that is being watched. And
I am the victim.
You are the victim. Now, one of the things I like with De Palma, and I've seen him do this with Dress to Kill and the museum scene and the shower scene with Nancy Allen and, in the museum with Angie Dickinson, he knows how to shoot scenes and use music to tell so much of what's going on. And when Craig Wesson is infatuated and following you. All innocent, of course, because he sees you being followed. So he's watching out for you. He is a horrible stalker. but I know there's this great moment where he follows you to a mall. And I love that De Palma follows you guys about the mall and this great big high-rise shot, and you can see you guys both going. And I know if I was Craig West, I would probably have done a little better job at concealing myself and not have security come up and ask me what my deal is. But
he was very innocent.
What was that? That was a real mall, was it not?
Yes, it's on Rodeo Drive.
Yeah, nice. Is it still there?
It is. The stores have all changed, of course, around, but it's a beautiful area. It was really different at the time, and I'm sure there are many more malls that have beautiful places like that. But the parking lot downstairs was really gorgeous, which was part of the shooting of there, and then the lingerie store upstairs, I believe that was dressed. I don't believe that was a real lingerie store. It was just a property that they used for the filming.
Yeah, I remember Craig was looking in that window. It's like, talk about being a horrible stalker. And the woman, he doesn't see the woman that notices him at the cashier.
Yes.
I'm like, I watch this and I'm like, I could have done a better job.
Have you had practice?
Next question. No, but all seriousness though, I watched this and I'm like, I would have done this a little differently. You know, like I would not have left myself open to security guards asking me questions and this and that. But he stuck a little bit too close to you. Like even when he was on the phone and he puts the phone up and immediately follows you, like that doesn't look conspicuous, does it?
No, I had arguments with Brian about my scene of when I was getting killed. I said, this doesn't really make any sense at all, because Psychology 101 tells you fight or flight. Why would I just stand there and let myself get killed? Why am I not putting up a fight, or why am I not fleeing the scene as best I can? And he said, it's not up for discussion, Deborah. Just remember, pathos, Deborah, pathos. Just this, that haunting voice. And he is one who has his mind made up. He knows what he wants. He knows how to get it there. And he doesn't allow producers or anybody to tell him what to do. I do know that the movie later, a different ending was shot, which was shown in the movie, because they said this is too dark at the end. We need guy gets girl at the end. Something needs to happen. You've killed Gloria, my character. You've this, you've that. So they have Craig Wasson and Melanie Griffith hook up at the end and walk off into the sunset, so to speak. But that was done well after the end of the end of our shooting.
What was the original ending?
It ended before that, where there's no violins coming at the end. Where a lot of films which are based on true stories, you're always left like, what? I didn't want that to happen. You're kind of angry at the end. It doesn't give the watcher what they want. And this was, this was not going to be just an art film. This is a mainstream film, and you needed to give people what they wanted to see. So that's why they hooked up Melanie Griffith and Craig Wasson at the end, and it worked. I mean, it worked for him. Let's face it.
I love that whole thing too, where De Palma educates us there during the end credits about the whole body double thing. Because I know there was some controversy over Angie Dickinson for Dress to Kill, And so, and he had they were shooting the movie within the movie, Vampire's Kiss, where they have the woman step out and they have the body double come in that's got a different body. I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
For sure. I don't remember that. I don't know what you're talking about, how he educates us at the end, but you mean within the film?
Yeah, no, when they were shooting when he was part of a film called Vampire's Kiss.
Didn't see that.
No, it's within the film. You know, when he's dressed as a...
Dressed to Kill?
No, it's in
within Body
Double, yeah.
Oh, hello. Earth to Deborah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the controversy started with Dressed to Kill because that film was very controversial, and of course, I guess they used a body double for Angie Dickinson, you know? So, and so at the end of Body Double, during the credits, they show the movie within the movie, and
Yes. Okay, now I'm following you. You know what I learned the other day? I did not know that Linda Gray, who was in Dallas with me, was the legs of Anne Bancroft in The Graduate. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Where Anne Bancroft is putting on the stocking and all to entice Dustin Hoffman. I just found that out last Tuesday. After all these years of knowing her and whatever, I never knew that. She's got a pair of legs on her. She's such a gorgeous, wonderful person. But I didn't know that before. So that's funny. I know. I'm trying to think of who stood in for Julia Roberts in some pirate movie or something. Who was telling me that? Oh, well, I guess it's not important. But it's interesting. I always look for things like that. It's hard for me to get lost in the film when it comes to things like that. If I see a mic accidentally drop into frame, if I see this, if I see that, or I think, oh my gosh, that girl's hair was bone straight and suddenly now she's got curls around her face. That the script supervisor should never allow that to happen, but to follow it. It's such an important job in the movie, the script supervisor, because they have to watch for that. Some actor could be, you say your line, and before you say the last word, you take a sip out of a wine glass and set it down. Now, if the script supervisor doesn't get that, and suddenly you do it the wrong way and you accidentally use your other hand because you're all into the moment and you use the other hand, it's her or his job to find that detail out and make it be reshot. So it's important. It's used all the time. It's a big negotiating part of people's contracts that they get body doubles or whatever. Or the director can tell the actor, I will use a body, or, a hand body double for you on this. I'm going to use... It's important. It's movie making. It's all about the visual. That's what Brian De Palma said. It's like the sex, violence, and what's the other thing? Well, sex and violence, for example, they show well.
Yeah.
And they sell well. And, geez, now we're so over-inundated with vampires and so much blood, even when it's not a slasher gasher kind of a movie.
It's interesting. You mentioned hand double. I interviewed Lisa Langlois on here last June, and she revealed to me, I think it was the first person she said this to, was she was a hand double in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the David Fincher version. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. I was at one time in Chicago working, and I met with a girl, and I met my friend from college, and she was living there, and she was for lack of a better word, a butt model. She was the butt. She had a great rounded butt, and they used her bum for different people. I thought, it's very funny.
It is.
We do know J-Lo's is real, though.
Well, yeah, that's what I hear on the Howard Stern show.
Yes, I heard. What? What did you say?
I say that's what I hear on the Howard Stern show.
They showed her real bum?
No, but I've heard him talk about it.
I heard that she's insured her bum for $34 million.
Wow.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. But anyway, Craig Wesson follows you so far right onto a beach area, and you're up there in this nice little area, the beautiful area up there on the phone. You're distressed, and he's still doing a lousy stalking job. Here he is, fully clothed, walking up there on the beach, and I know there's one part there he walks behind this. Before he walks behind this object, you look like you kind of spotted him, and he has to make it look like he's walking behind this thing. And I'm like, man, you're not wearing beach clothes.
Neither was I.
No, but you know what? You could get away with it. He was a bit overdressed.
He didn't. Yeah, he needed to have a volleyball outfit on. Right?
He needed something, you know. But again, beautiful area, and of course the scene in the tunnel, very, very effective, where the assailant grabs your handbag, I believe it was, and of course Craig Wesson goes in that tunnel and he feels enclosed, and he's having that because he can't function in tight spaces. Yeah, but then
it was very.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was go. What was you going to say?
I was going to say that was a nice scene, and it was Brian De Palma was saying, "Okay, let's just try it once, and then I'm going to talk to you about running." Okay, so we tried it once, and he said, "Wow, okay, you run so well in high heels. I have nothing more to say to you. It was perfect. We'll do it just that way," because he said that girls running in high heels is horrible looking on film because they don't know how to. So don't ask me how I knew how to, but I was a runner, so.
Yeah.
Every little detail, from my color of nail polish to exactly what shade of light blue my kimono would be in the death scene, to why I would always be in off-white throughout the movie, to why this, to why that. He cares about everything. The quality of the fabric, the color, he is so detail-oriented. And I think that's all those little things that anybody else would go, who cares? It makes for a perfect kind of movie.
And of course, you know, you had that massive death scene. We got to talk about the apartments, though. Those two apartments, beautiful places. Was that a set or was that actual location?
Actual locations. The roundhouse is a little higher up the mountain from where I live, and one canyon over, and they shot there, mind you. And my house is an actual house up Miller Drive off of Sunset, but we shot some there. And then everything is recreated on sound stages also, including the views from the windows, including everything. Everything was recreated. He doesn't leave anything unturned.
Yeah.
And, it was great. The dogs were incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, you and of course you have that death scene by drill. I never got that. Why he had to plug a drill in to commit a murder. I'm like, all that work?
Yes. I think it would be like the ultimate hatred for your wife, who I suppose in the movie I am the one with all the money. He's a poor struggling actor. It just made it more gory. You don't have to answer things. If you wondered why and the reality of everything, my character on Dallas would not have existed, because that was in the time that Bobby was in the dream sequence of Bobby. I didn't really exist. So they didn't try to stop and explain any of that away. People just accept it. That drill in Body Double was the Sears gotcha drill. And that was pretty scary. And everyone said, you really looked fearful. And I said, yeah, he really had that drill turned on and came within a quarter inch from my face. I was really scared.
Oh, yeah. And when that thing goes through you and through the floor, well, Craig Wesson's down there being attacked by dogs.
Yes, yes. And you know that drill really, it's called the gotcha drill, and it grabs hold of whatever material it's in, right? Wood or whatever, I guess that it's for. But you should have seen what happened. I had 4 kimonos to shoot, 4 or 6, that were perfectly dyed, perfectly this, perfectly that, because of the blood getting on it, the colored Karo syrup blood. And when they touched the drill to that kimono, I can't even tell you how it just went and destroyed. I thought maybe he did that on purpose, letting me see what happens when that touched the fabric before we shot my scene. Oh, you want to hear something funny about the phone cord around the neck part of that before he gets me with the drill?
Sure.
And I thought, my mouth feels so weird. I don't know what that is. I'd never had a fever blister before, but I had so much hot chocolate, and then somebody made me some coffees that day, and I hadn't really eaten that well, so my tummy got soured, and I guess I was starting to get a fever blister. Well, everybody panicked. They stopped shooting, sent somebody out to get tons of acidophilus, and I had to take about 6 acidophilus capsules every 5 to 10 minutes till, can you imagine if someone suddenly got this huge thing on their mouth in the middle of your lips being a 35 millimeter screen full of a fever blister? So I learned that little trick then of how to take that away immediately and how to quiet the sourness in my tummy, or anyone to quiet. So that was, it just made me think of that. I haven't thought of that for years.
Wow. Yeah, and that was also, kind of almost like a Hitchcock moment from Dial In for Murder with the...
the strangling part. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it really anything that's original?
No, but De Palma added his own spin, and, and I think that's the important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think 2 very famous songs we have, and I don't know which came first. Kenny Rogers sang a song called Lady.
Okay.
Lady. Then there was a song called Feelings. Feelings. It was the same 2 hook notes. And they can do it because it wasn't 4 notes. But it's the same notes. And they were so famous at the same time.
Yeah.
At least he borrowed from someone from more or less a generation before of filmmaking.
Well, yeah. But, De Palma made it work. And you had that great climatic death scene.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it like working with Craig Wesson? I mean, he just came off Ghost Story before that.
Well, I enjoyed working with him. He was quite nice with me. He's pretty much an intense actor. Greg Henry, who played my husband in that, the Indian, was also my big brother on a TV series I did called The Jaegers with Andy Griffith. And then he was my husband, and I thought, well, next he'll be playing my father or my child or I don't know what. But both of those actors are quite good. Greg Henry and his wife in real life are both actors, and they do a lot of theater, a lot of they care.
Yeah.
It's their art. They love it. And Craig, I haven't heard from or seen in eons. Since then. I've never seen him since we did the press junket for Body Double, to be honest.
I know he's worked with De Palma since. I know he was in, what was the name of that one he did with Rebecca Rojan Stamos? It was in 2002, and I can't remember the name of the movie.
You're very good at this,
Yeah, and Greg Henry was in that, playing a cop, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I can't remember the name of that movie, and it's going to hit.
He uses his guys all the time, De Palma.
Yeah, well, I know he's worked with Dennis Franz. He's worked with, of course, he was married to Nancy Allen and worked with her in several films as well.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I
with De Palma now? He hasn't done anything in a long time now.
You know, it's sad because, and I was talking to Stephen Lack not too long ago for the 35th anniversary of Scanners, and we were talking about the fact that David Cronenberg's last few movies weren't given, as far as I'm concerned, respectable distribution. And I'd say the last 2 or 3 Brian De Palma films were treated horribly. Like, he just had one out called, I think, Passion, which had Rachel McAdams and Noomi Rapace in it. And you'd think with those 2 names, you'd have an interesting thriller. And
yes, I've never heard of it.
yeah, and it wasn't released here and given such a limited release. And I find it so disrespectful for these directors who, as far as I'm concerned, they proved themselves. Mm-hmm. But yet Michael Bay releases something and it's all over everything. And, you know, I'm to the point now where I just ignore it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
apart from Passions, what was the other one that you said that was recent?
Oh, what did he do? I can't even remember the name of the film now. It was a few years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what the last film that... I think it was Femme Fatale was the one with Rebecca Rogen that he did.
Femme Fatale.
Yeah, he did that one. That one had Greg Henry in it. I know we had The Black Dahlia came here, and that was De Palma. Yeah, but aside from that, I don't know. I know he did something a few years ago that got hardly released at all, and we got this big 10-screen theater up there and we didn't get it at all, and we didn't get Passion, and it annoys me when you get these actors that have done some commercial stuff like Rachel McAdams and Noomi Rapace. You'd think a movie like that would get a better release. So I don't know how the distribution works, but it annoys me.
Yes, doesn't it annoy you to go to a place to see a film, and in three of the theaters is showing a film that you wouldn't bother seeing.
Exactly.
Unless you had 4-year-olds at home or something. I don't know. Times change.
Yep. Well, it's interesting. They were laughing at me up there the last couple of weeks because I went and saw the movie Everybody Wants Some 9 times, which is a record for me.
I haven't seen that.
That's
Everybody Wants Some?
Yeah, it's Richard Linklater. It's a spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused.
I don't know it. I'm writing down stuff now as you speak.
Yeah, it's a college film set in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's like I went and saw it 9 times. It's like it's only made like $3 million at the box office, and yet I prefer to watch that than any of the Marvel movies playing up there. You know?
Everybody Wants Some, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get that.
Yeah, I've been trying to get an interview from that because you'd think after seeing it 9 times, you'd think that somebody will come out here and promote it, but, you know. But no, Body Double, getting back to that, I don't know how well that did at the box office when it came out. Did that do well?
I think so, though I don't keep up with things like that, to be honest. But I know that Body Double's become kind of a cult film, and I think it's that Craig Wasson had the kind of Billy Idol character going on there, and there are people who just want to see that film over and over and over again. They like it. At least that's what I've been told. And I think it was a great one. I loved, and maybe you didn't like it, the film of De Palma called Untouchables.
Yes.
When he did that, I thought that was really well done. I loved the scene, or I love to watch it, where the baby carriage goes down that humongous set of stairs.
You know where that's from.
Where?
That was
a borrowed moment.
Well, yeah, it came from a 1925 silent film called The Battleship Potemkin.
Oh, really?
That was where that was originally done. Sergei Eisenstein made the Battleship Potemkin, and that was where the baby carriage and stuff down the stairs originally happened. There was a 1925.
I'm gonna have to look that one up too.
Yeah, 1925 silent film. It was a war film, yeah. But that's where that started, and but you know, like I said, De Palma brings his own spin. I never criticized De Palma for that because a lot of directors do borrow.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, what is original in the whole world of anything? Is anything original?
I mean, look at Quentin Tarantino, who's one of my favorite current filmmakers. He borrows, and he does it well. I mean, look at that needle jabbing scene in Pulp Fiction, a complete reference to Psycho, because it just cuts away, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible. I loved Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, same here. Oh, Christoph Waltz I'm so glad he won the Oscar for that.
Oh, he's so good.
He was so good in that. But, yeah, and Body Double, you know, he goes into that underground. I like that little musical scene that he's in. I forget the name of that song now, but where he's in that porno within the film, and yeah, that was a great little moment. And Melanie Griffith, I know you weren't in any scenes with her. Were you anywhere on the set with her?
Yes, we saw each other quite a bit, but again, I haven't seen her since. Not really for any period of time since we did the press junket. It's funny how you can be close to people or shooting the same movie, and then when that's over, we were just talking about that the other day. It's like being a family when especially if you're gone on location, or is to be so close or see each other every day, and then that's it. It's over.
What I find funny
people go
too.
to their cars and leave.
Her daughter Dakota is in 50 Shades of Grey.
Isn't that funny?
I think I heard somebody say that Dakota Johnson didn't want her mom to see her in that movie, and I'm like, yeah, but Melanie Griffith did Body Double. Yeah, she had quite a bit stripped off. Not totally nude, but
she was vacuuming nude in Working Girl too. Remember?
Oh, that's right. So I mean, we know where Dakota gets it. So
in the jeans.
There you go. But she was wonderful in Body Double as well. And
yes, she was.
And of course, Dennis Franz playing the director, and this was like his fourth or fifth time working with De Palma. Did you work with him any?
No, but I've met him on several occasions, and I really like him.
Yeah, I liked him.
I saw him in one of those police shows. I used to see him all the time. I can't remember what it was now.
Was it L.A. Law?
Was it L.A. Law or NYPD?
Oh, maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Yeah, I liked him best in Dressed to Kill as the no-nonsense cop.
I have to watch that again because I don't remember him in that.
Yeah, when he was questioning Nancy Allen, that was just great back and forth between them. Yep. But no, Body Double is a film I remember quite well. I want to get it on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's available on Blu-ray yet. It certainly hasn't been in my neck of the woods. I might have to order it. If it is, I got quite a few De Palma films on Blu-ray. Yeah, they just released Dressed to Kill with a wonderful Criterion release, and so I'll be looking for Body Double. Would you say what would you say was the hardest scene for you to shoot for Body Double? The drill scene.
Like I said, different things have different problems, if you would, or different amounts of difficulty, like just maintaining balance and trying to stay choreographed in the scene where we were on the turntable. That was a little difficult, kind of just physically to keep it going and be directed by him. It's like, no, turn this way. No, do that. Okay, up, down, this, that. That was hard. And the drill scene, well, that was hard only that I had to stay locked in a position in the floor where part of me was under the floor of where we were shooting, because the drill was mounted to the floor and I was under the floor. I did another movie called Nemesis where the lower half of my body was blown off, and that I was acting like from the shoulders up, and the rest of me was a rising piece of machinery, or this other woman who was my body double who only has partial body, and that's what she's a body double for that, crawling across the floor with a wig on from when they were shooting higher up of her body. So those kind of things are kind of hard to stay in a funny locked position physically, but other than that, my parts weren't very difficult. Just the physical part there.
I bet you Craig Wesson had a hard time keeping from kissing you.
He was having a hard time maintaining balance, too.
I would have been like, well, we messed that up. Let's do take 80.
Oh, too bad.
Because, boy, you were gorgeous in that film.
Thank you
so
yeah. much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But,
kind of you.
Yeah. But you did some other films. Now, before Body Double, you did something called Blood Tide.
Yes, that was the very first thing I did out here. And we shot that in Greece on the Peloponnese Peninsula in a place called Monemvasia, and that was fun. It was a great place to be.
Kind of I haven't seen it. I looked at the trailer for it because we don't have any video stores here anymore. So
does anybody have a video store? Good grief, yes. We have a very, very few.
Yeah, like there's Netflix, but I don't have it. Like my TV's set up and I watch my movies on it, But
I can't find anything I want on Netflix, I can tell you that. I don't mean I can't find anything I want, but you can't just go to it and find whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah, because I'm not always interested in the big blockbusters. I'm usually interested in the more independent or more obscure stuff. Like I love cult and midnight films, Yeah, like something like Body Double definitely interests me, And I wonder how controversial.
Picture Show.
Yeah, well, I interviewed somebody from Rocky Horror Picture Show last August. Yeah, I had Little Nell on here. Who played Columbia.
Wasn't Susan Sarandon in that?
Yeah. It's funny thinking about that now. Susan Sarandon was in that. But
she's a great actress.
Yeah, but like with other De Palma films, wasn't there problems with the censors with Body Double as well?
Mm-hmm.
What was the backstory to that?
I have no clue.
Oh, no
Not
clue.
something I was involved with at all. But yeah, the hard thing is Brian wants to do what he wants to do, and that's how he wants it to be, and that's how he wants to leave it. And he doesn't want people to tell him you have to do this, or you can't do that, or you must try to do this, because he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I'm very familiar. I'm very familiar with the controversy behind Dress to Kill. I don't know how much controversy was behind Body Double, but I know he's battled the censors.
Always, probably.
Yeah. And, of course, Blood Tide, that was a monster movie. I have not seen that. That was your first. What was the plot for that?
I don't know. I am an archaeologist, and I've gone off to Greece in search of whatever relics. And being there, it's like going into the water. I don't know if they're really monsters. You don't see monsters, but it's in a way, I guess, about being possessed. My brother and his girlfriend, wife, whatever, come on a boat searching for me there. And I don't really know what the plot. They want to come and get me out of there. and try to save me. And Lydia Cornell was in that movie. Remember her from Too Close for Comfort? And James Earl Jones, who I adore.
Yeah, he was in Conan the Barbarian that same year.
Wow. He was in that, and Lila Kudrova from Zorba the Greek with Anthony Quinn. I mean, and Jose Ferrer. They were all in that. It was really nice to be around those people, I can tell you that. That was a great experience. And it's funny that I don't own Blood Tide. I don't know how you get a copy of it. I've never thought about that. It's probably something I should try to do too. I'll have to let you know if I find all these things.
And then you were in a comedy called Hunk, which kind of has kind of a bedazzled kind of plot to it.
Yes, I was the devil's little helper there. That was the last film James Coco was able to do before he died. He was the devil in that film, and that was a lot of fun to do. Silly fun, just great.
Yeah, this is about a guy who's down on his luck with women and makes a deal with the devil that, if he can appeal to women, and next thing you know, he's a hunk.
He's the hunk. He sells his soul, and he becomes the hunk, and everybody's after him on the beach. It's silly good fun. I think it's a funny movie.
Yes, and what was the transition like for you to do a comedy? Like, was that your first film comedy?
Yes, it was. And what's funny, I am silly and funny, and I don't know why I never get cast for comedy. I don't know why. I just don't. I'm not usually sent up for that. It's funny. You can get pegged into a certain character or a certain style. Even when I just shot new headshots, and I go for one thing. I'm thinking one way when I go there, and the photographer sees me, and it ends up being kind of the same look. I mean, I'm not really going to get cast playing a character part unless it's whatever, ex-Playboy bunny or, something like that. I'm not going to get really good character parts yet. I don't know what I would cast me in. Do you? What would you cast me in?
Well, I could give you something right now.
Tell me.
Well,
I can get the matriarch, but I don't usually get cast as the quote. Sorry, I don't know if I can say this, like the bitch type. I don't get cast as that type usually either.
Well, I'll share. I'm going to share something with you right now. I was doing a remember the ice bucket challenge?
No.
Though for ALS where people would dump ice water over their head for ALS?
No, I didn't know that, and a friend of mine has died of that 4 years ago.
I have somebody close to me that has it too. Well, after Robin Williams had passed away, there was a campaign that came out called Doubtfire Face for suicide depression. And depression's something that I've struggled with. Never to the point of suicide, mind you, but it's kind of a chemical imbalance. But the whole idea of the Doubtfire face is you take a pie in the face and you nominate 3 people. And I did a video. I took a pie in the face and I nominated some of my interviewees, and Lisa Lang was generous and gracious enough. She responded, and she did a video where she took a pie in the face, and she nominated some people in the industry because we wanted it to go viral, and she's been in touch with me about that. I was going to say, if you were brave enough, shoot a video where you take a pie in the face for suicide depression and nominate 3 people. Would you be up for that?
Yes. However, can I tell you, I think I am technically impaired. I don't know how to do all of those things on the internet, but I could get help with it.
Sure.
I refuse to go that way.
Yeah, if you get somebody that could upload the video, and I got a YouTube site now where I'm putting all my interviews up, and I could put the link even up on my site. Lisa's got over 600 hits right now, and it had over 500 within 1 week.
Really?
Yeah, so people are really seeing it, because when you get people in the industry involved, people see it. Now, my video is up for a month, and it has less than 70 hits, but nobody knows who I am. You get people from the industry, and that's where people start to pay attention, and that's where people will support something like that. So I will encourage you to do a video if you know somebody that can shoot it, and it doesn't have to be very long, but take a pie in the face. You can do that, huh?
Just sit there and somebody throw a cream pie in your face?
Well, not throw it, because you could miss. They got to mush it in your face.
Oh.
And you nominate 3 people. And I would encourage you, if you could, nominate 3 people from the industry, because we want to try to get... that's how the Ice Bucket Challenge took off. People from the industry started doing it, and it raised all this money for ALS.
Uh-huh.
And
so you shoot a video doing that, but is there someone interviewing you or talking about that? And how do you nominate people to do what? Nominate 3 people to get pie mushed in their face?
Yeah, what you do is, what I did was I had a bunch of statistics for suicide and depression, and the statistics are just bad. I don't have them right on me, but I for people suffering from depression, and Lisa's video was better than mine. She just get up there and she stated her name, and she said that she would like to support the Doubtfire Face campaign, which is for suicide depression, and she would she'd nominate 3 people. She'd say, I'd like to nominate this person, this person, this person. She nominated some of her fellow Canadian actors. And then she urged people to go for it, support either the Canadian or the American Foundation of Suicide Depression. And she had her son mush a pie in her face, and she was a good sport about it.
Wow. I hear you. It's just interesting. I think I'm going to have to call you another time. I'm taking notes of what you've said, and you'll coach me a little bit better with that.
Sure. But I mean, if you got somebody that can, like film that, and just you put it up on YouTube,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've written all this down, and now you'll have to vow to help me do this. Help me through my paralysis of technical fears.
What do you mean technical fears? Like you need...
I am fearful of emails. I just don't know. I feel like everything's going to be lost. I don't check emails. I don't do any of that. And very honestly, career-wise, it's a very important thing to do, too, because people want to know what kind of a following you have. And I have a lovely man in Canada who runs my...
Eric.
Eric, yes.
Yeah.
So he is from there. And there's another gentleman who's Bulgarian, and they work together, and another lady who is American named Jan Steppe. So all of them run the site for me because I am panicky about that, just panicky. I don't know why. I get you. It feels like it's being lost. I can't touch it, hold it, feel it. Can't be in my hand. It's not paper. It's not a book. And it's scary for me.
Wow. Well, you want me to give the details about this to Eric?
I would love it.
Yeah, and you would do...
I would love it. I would love to help with that. I have so many friends who suffer with depression.
Sure.
And it's an awful thing.
It is an awful thing, yes. I hear you. And, Yeah, have you ever taken a pie in the face before?
Yes, I have. Circus of the Stars, Battle of the Network Stars. We did things like that. Or you were sitting on a little swing, looking all cute and pretty, and if someone can hit whatever it is on one of the sides, it makes the side of the swing fall, and you're splashed into water. So I'm not afraid of any of those. I told you I'm a tomboy.
There you go.
I've taken a lot of pies at Dallas. I'll tell you that. Every birthday I had, they were good at throwing cream pies at you.
Oh, wow.
or squirting you in the knees, the back of the knees, with a water pistol on your close-ups.
Well, I'll tell you
fun.
what, I'll give Eric the details, and if you could get
Great.
and if you could get somebody to film you doing this, I mean, they could take care of the technical aspects of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be very long. Like Lisa's was only 40 seconds. Mine was like 8 minutes. I admired how hers was right to the point, you know, and just beautifully done. And she was a good sport about it. And yeah, just nominate 3 people. It's called the Doubtfire Face, based on Mrs. Doubtfire. And
when you nominate people, it's just kind of needling them to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then nominate 3 other people.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, and then take a pie in the face, and I'd love to see you do that. So,
wow, thanks a lot. I don't know. I'm not sure how to take that.
Well, you know what? I admire a woman that could take a pie in the face because it tells you something about them.
Have to do it dressed and hair and makeup and jewelry and outfit very glam, so everything gets ruined. That's what people want to see.
Well, you don't have to ruin your clothes, but I just remember a movie called The Great Race, and I remember there was a big pie fight in it, and Natalie Wood got plastered head to toe, and I'm like, how did they talk her into doing that?
Because she was probably very much fun to be with.
I guess, you know, but I often said, you know, if it was up to me, I'd put a pie scene instead of sex scenes in movies because I find them much more entertaining. I grew up with that stuff, so I love that kind of humor.
That's good.
Yeah, so, yeah, if you could do one of those, I would be very, very happy to see you do that. And but I got a couple other films I want to mention to you, though. First, you were in something called Perfect Victims.
Yes, we wrote and produced that. My ex-husband and I did, and that was good fun. I made up the scene where we were trying to think of how, when I come to my car to get in, how would, you know, too many people are in the back seat waiting for you or whatever. And I was victimized by having someone hiding under my car. I had taken a class, a mace class, you know, the pepper spray kind of thing. And they said how many people are assaulted in parking lots by going to put the key in the door of their car. Of course, now we have the beepers. But when they step up to the car, someone's under the car, they grab you by the ankles and yank your legs forward, and it breaks your fibia, is it? Whatever is the bone right there in front of your calf. And you go down like the Titanic, and it's easy to do whatever. And that, I don't know why that just seemed so horrific to me. And I really wanted to put that scene in the movie, and we did, and it was good. It worked well.
They victimized you. I can't believe it. After you got the drill, they wouldn't let you off the hook again.
I'm telling you, I get victimized in every movie, it seems. People want to see victims, the woman in distress. I mean, when you think about characters in movies, all the characterizations that work, are typically motivated in a way. And a damsel in distress is in every language, every country, whatever in the world. Look at Star Wars. Every one of those characters are archetypes. The fool is Chewbacca, the young warrior, the callous warrior who's giving up. the dark one of Darth Vader, all of them, like Pretty Woman. It's the guy with the damsel in distress. It's just like Cinderella. Or funny how those themes work everywhere.
It's funny. I was interviewing last September. I interviewed Belinda Belansky, and she was in a whole lot of the Joe Dante films. And I got laughing with her. I said, "You notice Joe Dante seems to kill you off in every movie?" And she goes, "Yeah, she's been meaning to talk to him about that." But I had a good laugh with her about that. But yeah, and after Perfect Victims, she was in, because she was in Nemesis. Yeah.
Now that was trying physically. I can tell you that was an incredible pre-production on bodies and whatever. That was good. That gave me my rough and tough and ready, and we worked out for 3 or 4 months before that to get the musculature well, and the just everything. And I did it. I mean, I followed the rules and was able to change my body to a serious workhorse body there. It was good. It was fun.
And then you were in a movie called Blind Vision.
Yes, where I was again victimized, right?
Yeah.
And being stalked.
Kind of like in Body Double. You're being watched.
Yes.
You're getting that a lot. You're going to have to close your curtains.
I've got to learn to close the curtains at home, too.
Yeah, and this one here, though, you discover what's going on. And of course, that's when haywire takes place.
Yes.
There was, of course, a murder, and it's pinpointed on one specific individual, and the individual it's citing, well, he doesn't have a whole lot of places to go because he looks guilty all around.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And for existing.
Yeah, when you bring a cake back to his place, as a friendly gesture, because he picked you up one night, you see evidence. And of course, we in the audience don't know whether he's guilty or whether it's been planted, something like that. And of course, you're automatically thinking, oh, this guy's bad news. Of course, why wouldn't you think that?
Of course.
Yep. What was it like doing that film?
Works. Sorry?
What was it like doing that film?
It was really nice because I shot it in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, where I grew up most of my life. And that was very nice to have the support of the people there. And it was just nice to feel supported. And I shot that as a blonde. I was a blonde on the way through. And it was good fun. I mean, I love to work. I just love to work. That's all I can tell you. I really enjoy working. Not many people have the opportunity to grow up and work at something that they did as children. I was an only child, and making up stories and acting them out was what I did with my dolls. And then I got to grow up and do that for a living, and I was able to be trained in ways to help me bring that about. I really appreciate that. I've been truly blessed.
Yeah. And of course, I think, probably most famous for being in Dallas, huh?
Yes, that was fun. That was
JR.
Yes, it was great to work on a show that people had worked on 6 and something or almost 7 years before I went on the show. So it ran very smoothly, not so much like some television shows. They say that TV directors really don't have time to do anything but be traffic cops and say, did you hit your mark? Okay. Is it okay? Was the lighting good? Okay, that's it. Let's move on, because they have a much shorter time of filming than in films. So, although, wow, I'm incredibly taken with so many of the TV shows they're on now. I love them. I went through a period where I thought, is anything going to be out there besides these stupid reality shows?
Oh, I hate these reality shows.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Honey Boo Boo, the Kardashians. I don't care about it.
Yeah, haven't. What's Honey Boo Boo?
Oh, it's from what I understand, some little girl who's with this kind of a trailer trash kind of atmosphere. I haven't watched it. I just know of it.
Is about a little girl?
Yeah,
Oh,
I know South Park made fun of it big time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They make fun of everything.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah, but no. What was Larry Hagman like to work with?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
He unfortunately is
no
longer with us.
He took me. He said, "Come on, let's go have a drink." And we just went and we sat down. He asked me everything about my life. He told me like all the gossip on everybody that I was going to be working with, real life gossip. And just, he was so much fun. He could act so mean. We would be somewhere and he would be saying the most evil thing, whatever, and then turn around and walk out of a restaurant and go, and all of the extras would just crack up and start laughing, and they had to do the scene over again. So I had a great time with him. Great time. People are always playing practical jokes on that show, and it was fun. It was I didn't like the feeling of feeling like the new kid on the block, but I was so welcomed there, and that was nice. That was really nice.
You did quite a lot of TV. What would you say were your favorite experiences for TV? Like, what shows did you like working on best besides Dallas?
I don't know. I think I was unfortunately feeling like, I just don't want to play the girl on every Cops and Robbers show or every whatever show, from the A-Team to the whatever Columbo to this to that. So I don't know. Like I said, you kind of get slotted in to play a certain type of character, but I enjoyed all of my experiences. I liked working with Jeff Goldblum on a show that I cannot even remember the name of it. There was an African American guy and him. I can't remember it now. But looking back, I had a great time just about doing everything. It's just nice. Just, as I said, it's a wonderful job to have.
Wow. You know, it was absolutely awesome to have you come on my show today, you know, and
Greg.
go over. I love to interview people from cult films, and I thought of you one day, and I was like, I wonder if there's any contact information. And Eric's, I gotta say a special shout out to Eric, because
yes.
Eric has been helping me put this together since last December.
Eric Bloom is one of the nicest people I've ever met. I always say, I think I'm going to have to come up with a story, because, you know, in the business, people don't get involved with, say, a fan or for them to start my site, and I don't know them. It's not like I initiated it. We've become great friends on the phone. We've not even met in person yet. Can you imagine? And yet we're just great friends on the phone, and we talk often. And he's such a supportive individual and so smart. I love having discussions with him, and I've really enjoyed speaking with you today. It's fun having conversations back and forth about films. It's been really enjoyable, and I'm grateful to you for having me on. Thank you so much.
It's interesting too, because you mentioned that about be involved with a fan, and you know, when I nominated Lisa Langlois for the Doubtfire Face, she called my cell phone to get the details, you know. Yeah, and you know, I'm gonna say this, I really hate these movies that they paint fans as being stalkers.
Freaks. Yes.
I hate that. There was a film came out in 1996 called The Fan, where Robert De Niro plays this obsessive fan of a baseball player played by Wesley Snipes. And it's like ever since John Lennon was shot, Hollywood's had this bleak view of us, and we're not any like the one person in how many, and it's
Exactly.
Yeah, and it annoys me when I watch the Academy Awards, the Golden Globes. They get up there and they thank everybody but the people that make their movie money.
That's true. I always tell Eric, if I can have a great comeback, get something really great going, have to make up a story, have to do a film about fans making the person come to life or come back to life. Do you know what I mean? Because that can be especially now with all the technical age, that can be the case more than not. But I think it would be a good thing, just like you said, to be a counter that image that has been depicted since The Fan, since whatever. Although that happens too. You know, when I was Miss U.S.A., there was this man who kept trying to call me, kept calling my father's dental office to tell him he was going to be married to me and that my father was going to hear the pitter-patter of little feet and da-da-da-da-da. But this guy was escaped from St. Elizabeth's mental hospital back east, and it was kind of freaky. And then I was sort of friends with Jacqueline Smith. We saw each other quite a bit at one time, and she had someone, and to correspond with somebody one-on-one, they say it's dangerous. This is just across the board. You shouldn't because XYZ. And I think she had done that, and suddenly the police arrived at her home in Bel Air just in time where someone was there at the door with a hatchet trying to chop it down to get into her. Now, I don't know that to be a fact, but that was what I was told. So there are scary things that happen, but as you say, it's one in a gazillion. People wish the best.
Yeah, and Hollywood will make movies about that. But I hear so many wonderful things about conventions where fans will dress up or they will. Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's great. It's wonderful to have those conventions because you take pictures with the people that come there and talk to them, sign pictures, do whatever, but it's one-on-one. And this feeling of being appreciated that way, because, as I said, I don't do stage work really. What is that famous line of Peter O'Toole from a movie with Joseph Bologna? I'm trying to think of what it was, but where he says, well, what are you talking about? Just get out there. You just get out there and act. You're an actor, act. And Peter O'Toole, it was to be in front of a live audience, and Peter O'Toole said, are you crazy? I'm a movie star. I am not an actor.
Wow.
But, to be touched by people, to act in front of a camera, it's like being home alone. It's not necessarily being with a lot of people apart from the crew. And usually if it's a difficult scene, they can make people, spread out and only have the very necessary crew there. So, yeah, but I'm getting off the subject, but to be appreciated in person, people saying, I saw this or I saw that. You bring things up to me today and I think, what? What was that story? Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm lost trying to remember what it is you're talking about so freely. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's like, I've got a lot of the people that I know what my boundaries are. So, I mean, I've got quite a few of my interviewees on Facebook. Which is really cool. Like they've added me on their friends list and whatnot. And yeah, because when I get done the interviews and they play out on here, I send them the link to the podcast, and they can put it on their Facebook page or.
Really? So you do know that you're speaking Greek or ancient Aramaic, Mandarin. I'm understanding as much as I understand of what you just now said. That's how technically impaired I am. But I know you're going to explain it to me better when we're not on the air.
Well, I can I'll send the link.
Tell Eric and not be bothered with it. Just, he'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, I'll send it to Eric, and he can put it on your Facebook site. I know you've got one, but no, that's I keep in touch with a lot of the people I've interviewed, and I haven't had a problem with anybody. You know, it's been wonderful. A couple of quick things before I let you go. How would I get an autographed picture of you?
Just tell me an address.
Okay.
Okay, wait, let me write this down. Well, you have my phone number now because this is the number I called you on. And
I don't have your number, but we're recording right now, and I don't want to give any numbers or addresses.
Just blast it out over the air.
Huh?
Good idea.
I'll tell you what. Whenever I go to close off, you stay on the phone.
Okay.
And then we'll give her information. That's what I did with Melanie Kinnaman. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we can do that. So whenever I close out, just stay on the phone.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing too. Yeah, I was wondering if I could get you to do a plug for my show.
Yes.
Yeah, just say your name, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert in Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Right now?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Deborah Shelton, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert in Fredericton. Say it again, the city.
Fredericton.
I got to write this down. Fredericton. Okay, had to see that, not just hear it. Fredericton. Okay, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
There is. You're not the first.
Right.
You're not the first person to get it wrong.
To get stumbling over that.
Yeah.
Hi. All right, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Deborah Shelton. I'll start over. Hi. Let me try not to sound like a 13-year-old boy going through the change. Okay, here I go. Hi, I'm Deborah Shelton, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert in Frederick. Say it again.
Fredericton.
Fredericton. Holy cow. I can't do it. Is this a tongue twister or what? If I had to say this 3 times without stumbling, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I think Cindy Morgan said it like 4 or 5 times. I had her on.
She?
Yeah, I had her
Not
on.
Easy.
Yeah, but
you say it quickly. Say it quickly.
Fredericton.
No, say hi. I'm Greg Gilbert, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert in Fredericton. Oh, I did it. Why didn't we record it?
There you go. Well, it's still recording.
Okay.
But, you know, in Reminiscence, though, you'll have to check out the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, yes.
Yep, so see some Canadian humor. And again, I'll give the details to Eric, but yeah, you'll have to do the Doubtfire Face and
I'll have to do all that. Now, let me do another plug for the show, okay?
Sure.
Let me try to do it the right way. Okay. Hi, I'm Deborah Shelton, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert in Fredericton.
There you go. That was a perfect take. Even Brian De Palma would be happy with that.
Okay.
Yes, and we got to celebrate Body Double. But,
yes, we did. Thank you so much for having me on.
But you don't need a body double. The God broke the mold when he made you.
You're so nice. Thank you. Thank you for the lovely words you've said about me and my work. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm going to get you to stay on the line.
Okay.
And so I can give you my information. I'm just going to close out the interview, but you just stay on the line, okay?
All righty.
Okay. Well, folks, that was the beautiful, gorgeous Deborah Shelton, Body Double. Check her out in that movie and check her out in her other films like Hunk. And yes, we're celebrating her work today. And I'll tell you, Miss USA has rarely had a more beautiful woman than that. This is Python leaving you with this wonderful interview.